And how is everyone doing today? So, today is video 2 of number 7 of the angelic accelerated knowing, or direct angelic accelerated knowing. So, what did we do yesterday? We disrupted the resonance. We stopped feeding the story of almost. Yes? So, by doing that, we entered the hush, which is today. The deep awareness of the hush, and we're going to realize that the noise of the world is only a suggestion. We stop voting for the consensus of not yet and start inhabiting the is here. So hopefully that will make sense. Now, I want you to try to do something here. Close your eyes if you can. And take a deep breath in. As you exhale, feel the weight of the almost fading away. It's gone. Okay? For the next 3 minutes, we are leaving the world of how and when. Okay? Imagine life as a series of repeating patterns, or loops, if you will. Okay? 1 second here. Okay. Now, imagine a morphic field of your past. See those loops of delay, each one, and every near miss. Now I want you to step back, become the observer of them. You are not those loops. You're the deep and silent awareness between those loops. Got me so far? We're going to breathe into that space behind your thoughts. The loops are moving, but you are still. Bring your attention to the center of your chest. Feel the tension here. That tightness that you're feeling, you know what I'm talking about, where it's not anxiety and it's not depression, it's nothing like that, but you got this tightness in your chest, and it's not your intuition. It's that feeling that you know something is on the way, you know you're close to a breakthrough. That is the bifurcation point that I was talking about in the last video. It is the highest point of energy before a shift. It's right before a tree branch prunes. It snaps from one consensus or loops back, or snaps to a higher branch. Okay? Hopefully that analogy makes sense, and I'm making this video make sense. Most of you think you're trying to think your way across this finish line, and that's completely wrong. Your thoughts are just echoes of that old field, okay? You need to drop into deep awareness. Just observe them. Stop looking at the mountain that you're seeing, that is your life, and start looking at the one who is watching the mountain. The awareness behind your thoughts. You get it? So you can be looking at the mountain or look at the one who's looking at the mountain. Step out of yourself, so to speak. In that deep space, silent observation, you aren't almost anything. You're already complete. Perfect as you are. Okay? It's in that stillness, at the very peak of that bifurcation point. That stillness, that angelic knowing snaps into place. You don't get the breakthrough because you earned it. You get it because you finally become quiet enough to hear that it was already yours. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I gotta stop asking if that makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. Since deep awareness is a practice, would you like to create? Probably want to create like a 3-minute meditation for this. That will basically help you understand the hush, and it will help you guide you through this download. Okay. To integrate angelic accelerated knowing and the bifurcation into the realm of deep awareness, we have to look at the observer state. Okay, and that incorporates a few things. First thing I'm going to be talking about is the observer at the bifurcation point. The second one is quantum mortality and quantum morality. Third thing. bifurcation point in physics, system at a bifurcation point, as I said yesterday, is hypersensitive to its environment. In the realm of consciousness and deep awareness, it is the steady hand that prevents the system from collapsing into a lower branch, a loop of almost. So when you're practicing deep awareness, you aren't in the frustration anymore. You're aware of everything that's going on. Okay? You're the one observing the frustration. This distance is what allows the accelerated knowing to land. As I said before, car, landing strip, all that. You can't skip steps. This is all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 video for that reason. So how and when there is no landing strip for the divine download, if that's what you're focusing on, you got to let go of that. Don't worry about the how and the when. Okay? Now, the almost habit, the entire landscape has to dissolve completely. You got to disassociate from that field. And it moves with the conversion from when things end to the ethical weight and spiritual permission required for a breakthrough. You got to give yourself permission for that. Stop reaching for the almost and believe truly that the breakthrough is here. It's like trying to pick a lock to an open door. What are you doing? The door's already open. You just have to walk through the threshold instead of looping back in the same old practices. Okay. And this is where it comes to quantum morality. Okay. The quantum consensus morality is the invisible set of rules of our collective consciousness, and that tells us that what you deserve, what is right for you to have, is something you have to struggle is required, and you're allowed to succeed. This is completely wrong. The almost cycle isn't just a timing issue, it's a moral weight. So the morality of struggle in the collective consensus has built the morality around suffering. It suggests a breakthrough is only virtuous if it is preceded by years of hardship. So with that, understand that the conflict when angelic accelerated knowing tries to give you an immediate snap, your internal consensus morality might reject it because it feels unearned or too easy. And it's not saying this is wrong, but that's where you're messing up. The almost loop. Stay in almost because you're trying to be morally upright. And you can be morally upright, but you just have to realize you don't have to struggle to get the breakthrough you're trying to get. By angelic accelerated knowing, you know instantaneously instead of having to suffer through trial and error. It's immediate. Okay? And a lot of us want to just stay in the struggle just a bit longer just to prove to ourselves that we deserve it. And that's fine. If that's what you do, but understand when you do that, you're looping. And you got to break that. That's what pulls people back into the loops that they do. Because they feel morally that they have to suffer in order to get a breakthrough. And that's not the case at all. Right? Deep awareness. The struggle isn't a moral requirement. It's a morphic habit. Like I was saying. At the bifurcation point, you face a choice. Do you follow the consensus morality, which says you must pay a higher price, or do you follow the angelic reality, which says the price has already been paid? When homeboy died on the cross, that price already got paid, man. You just got to realize it. Okay? So, by entering the hush, you detach from the collective's definition of deserving. You realize that grace and acceleration are not cheating. They're your original state. And anybody, well, I know, 144 from the stars, Draconic Priestess, you all are going to say, yep, I already know that. How do I know that? Because I know you guys have been through a lot of the same things I've been through. And to the rest of the collective, this is something I cannot stress enough, man. You're already complete. but it takes time for you to see it. And once you make that realization, the whole world opens up to you. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to be presumptuous. I don't know how much others know about the snap, but that's why I'm recording this and that's why I'm bringing it up. And a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people will read about it, go, oh yeah, bifurcation point, or loops and whatnot, but they really don't understand. They may know the terms, but they don't know what they mean, and that's one thing that kind of is like, it's kind of like, oh God, please know what you're talking about. And I'm not saying to anybody here doesn't know what they're talking about. That's not what I'm saying. It's just sometimes I'll be listening to a video, and I'm not calling out names because I'm not going to do that. But God, man, it's like, please know your stuff because you just sound like a moron. And this has nothing to do with any of the tarot readers and nothing like that. This has to do, to be honest, with this lady I was passing a few days ago, and she was trying to say something about the bifurcation point, about hands being on my shoulders, and you don't know what you're doing if you go to hell and this and that. I looked at her, I was like, honey, you just made as much sense as making me say to someone that knows nothing about computers, would you like me to hook up the supply duchess and connect you to the matrix? Like, it has nothing to do with quantum physics other than the terms that she was spitting out. It was just, you are a dumbass, like complete dumbass. It was too fun. But God bless, I couldn't say anything. I was just like, okay. Jesus fucking Murphy. Some of these people that you come across, it's like, Strife, get out of there. Hold on, my cat's being a punk. Sorry, guys. These fucking terrorists are something else. But yeah, just people that say stuff. Sometimes it's one of those. It's one of my pet peeves where you hear somebody say something, and you just say, God, can you please understand what the fuck you're talking about before you say something? I can go on for hours like this and just talk about shit that just irks the fuck out of me, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna save you guys that threshold. Okay. So rewriting the quantum consensus is what we're gonna be doing. Okay. The snap happens when you finally give yourself permission to have your breakthrough. Now. All right. Breakthrough. You aren't just breaking a physical barrier. Okay. You're breaking a quantum consensus that says you aren't good enough. Yet, for the finished work, you are. In spiritual and metaphysical context, angelic accelerated knowing refers to a rapid influx of divine wisdom and upgrades. Okay, to your intuition that bypasses traditional learning. And for those of you who are weary of almost reaching that breakthrough, this is concept suggests the shift from seeking to embodying. So, with that, it involves intuitive immediacy. Unlike human reasoning, which is linear and is discursive, moving from A, B to C, angelic knowing is intuitive, instantaneous, and it is described as a download where you suddenly understand complex truth or solution without having to study it. Vibrational alignment, the acceleration occurs when the personal frequency rises to match a spiritual higher state. It acts as a catalyst to break the cycles of delay by providing the exact clarity needed to move forward. Divine partnership. It involves active cooperation with angelic guides. By marking prophetic decrees or focused intentions, you activate heavenly assistance to expedite your path and clear the spiritual fog that causes the near misses. Now, this treatment goes into a whole different aspiration of how we do this. When you look back from the done state, you look back at that tension that rises in quantum morality and consensus morality. The mechanics of our escape is so clear. We disrupted resonance. We stopped feeding into the almost story and entered that hush. that deep awareness. And that's what this whole thing is about. Um, so once you understand that, and you stop looking at that mountain, as I said, that's what this whole thing is about. Just take 3 minutes, 5 to 3 minutes, and just enter your deep awareness state and feel the almost loop. See it. See all the loops that you've had and go behind those thoughts of the loops and just see them as an outside observer of yourself. When you can do that, you can see that you've closed those loops and you can now enter a new cycle of is. The download is here. And all you have to do is accept it. This, for me, took forever because I'm stubborn and I like to strive and I like to do things my own way, put my own twist on things. And that's fine and well, but it's going to take a lot longer. So, with that, tomorrow we're going to be looking at navigating that method. After we accept the download, how you navigate the bifurcation point. Okay? That is what the next video entails, and we will go through that. That is my 15-minute spiel about how to do that and whatnot. Yep. Till then, namaste.